Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel. Now, we will do a podcast in English. I have a very nice friend here, Bob. Tell you to the people who you are. You know, what do you do?
All right, cool. Well, thank you for listening. My name is Bob, and so I am very interested in psychology, philosophy, biohacking, human consciousness, meditation, and also traveling. And recently, I've also gotten very much into crypto or cryptocurrency. So yeah, I have quite a few different interests, and yeah. So let's do it, man.
Yeah. So I think it will be good to talk about, your biohacking and the things that you do in your business. Can you tell me something about it?
Yeah, sure. So, okay. My story. So, I used to be very fat. I used to be very overweight. And I had a lot of health issues from just, very, yeah, I just not a very good lifestyle. And I learned about biohacking many years ago. And I started experimenting. So, the first thing I did was I started taking different kinds of supplements just to change how my brain worked, how my body worked. I found some which were very useful, some which were not. I also started doing a little bit of yoga just for movement. I love walking. But what really changed my life in terms of hacking my body was changing my sleep patterns, really improving my sleep patterns, and also practicing meditation. And my form of meditation, in fact, the workshops that I run at the moment are more related to how meditation can be connected with technology. So, for example, when I was young, I had a very hard time meditating. It's just sitting there breathing. Honestly, for a lot of people, they just think it's like wasting time. They don't really feel any effects. They don't know what's happening inside them. So I started using a small device. It's called a heart math sensor. And using this device, I could connect it to my body while I practiced meditation, and it would pick up on my heart rhythms and show me on my screen what was happening inside my body and what was happening with my brain while I was practicing meditation.
It's like you have an interface and you see a graphic, you know,
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And it gives
Mhm.
you a score at the end. How effective was your meditation session? And I'm the kind of person that really likes gamification or statistics. I want to know, like, was my practice effective or not? How can I improve it over time? So for people like me who have that way of thinking, it's lovely to have a device that shows me what's happening when I'm practicing something that's really, I know now, having an effect on my stress levels, reducing my stress levels, improving the way that my mind works, and just making me all around patient and calm and really focused. So, yeah, it's a wonderful tool. And so now I run workshops with these devices and I teach people how to use these devices. And I also explain how this practice affects their neurobiology or their neurochemistry, how it affects their autonomic nervous system, how it changes their sleep patterns, and also what they can do if they want to reprogram their subconscious mind. So it's yeah, it's just fun. It's kind of interesting for people to understand what's happening inside them.
Yeah. I am curious about, you know, you mentioned that you want to improve over the time, right? But meditation is different. Sometimes I don't know. You can have a very bad day, so your meditation won't be as good as usual. So what happens with that? Because you want to improve, but you will see a lower score than the last session. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell me something about it.
That's a great point. I mean, like, one thing about meditation is it also is a very honest, um, it's a very honest representation of what's happening inside you. So yes, it's true, right? Some days are good, some days are bad. And on the bad days, there are two options. One of them is just, I practiced today, and so my state would have been much worse if I hadn't have practiced. But yes, it's true, right? My scores are not going to be as good. What that indicates to me is that today is a day that I might not want to challenge myself as much. I might just want to take it a little bit more easy because my mind and my body might not be as well prepared for challenges or stress today. So it's a wonderful sort of representation of how I should think about my day, how I should run it. Maybe I need to relax a little bit more. Maybe I need to do a little bit more exercise. Maybe I need to just go for a walk, calm myself before I start working or before I start focusing on what I need to do. It helps with that. And secondly, I know that on a bad day, where I am stressed, where stuff is happening, maybe I need to practice a little bit longer. The score there is telling me, hey, look, today you need at least 10 minutes more than you usually practice just to get yourself back to that balanced state. It's information. And I think that's one wonderful thing about biofeedback. It's really just teaching us using information, where I'm at and what I need to do today to get to my usual state.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that is really helpful, I would say. However, some people here in Latin America and maybe all over the world, it's difficult to find a device to see and score and improve your meditation. So what do you recommend to normal people? I don't know, like...
Well, okay, I'll be honest with you. So I live in Bali in Indonesia, and yes, I kind of have the same problem, right? It's not so easy to get stuff. Now, what I have realized is that using the HeartMath website, HeartMath.com, they do ship all over the world. Now, for me, for example, here in Bali, I know they can ship to me. It's just that, yes, I'm going to have to pay international shipping, which... yeah, it's not fair. I mean, it's like, it's kind of a lot more. Like if I was living in the US and I shipped it to myself, maybe I would pay like $1 or $2 or maximum $5 for shipping. Now that I'm living internationally, if I ship it anywhere in Asia, I pay about $50 in shipping. So yeah, it's kind of, it's a pain in the ass. But honestly, like if this is something that you really want to do, like it's something that you think, okay, that is going to change my life. And by the way, it has changed my life. I don't know what I would be like without this thing, right? I've been practicing for about 5 years now. And man, if you had spoken to me 5 years ago,
what
you
is
wouldn't
the
even
best
recognize
benefit?
me.
What is the best benefit, or
Patience. Oh my God, the amount of patience and focus. Like my personality is it's different, right? Because I feel like stress levels, the amount of stress that people live with has a direct effect on their emotional intelligence, how they interact with other people, how easy it is for them to form relationships with other people. For me, that has been the biggest thing. It's really just reduced my stress levels, and it's allowed me to create better relationships with other people, less arguments, less sort of like anger and frustration because other people don't meet my expectations. I'm just more calm. I'm like, okay, great. That's the way life is. That's the way you are. I just have to accept that and roll with it. That's one thing. But the second thing, which again, it could be more important for other people, is health. I found that practicing with this device, and honestly, if you don't want a device, that's great. If you can sit for at least 20 to 30 minutes and practice meditation daily, even without a device, powerful. But for me, I need this device. I like to see it because it helps me every single day just to have, because it saves my scores, man. It saves my statistics on my sessions on a daily basis. So I can look back at the years and be like, yeah, I really practiced on those days. It's easy for me to just say, yeah, today I don't feel like it. But this thing holds me accountable, right? So every day I take a screenshot of my score and I send it to at least 5 different people who I have an accountability agreement with. I send you mine every day, you send me yours. We hold each other accountable because we know that as a human being, sometimes you're lazy and you don't really feel like it, or you're busy and you think you don't have the time, or, whatever it is. But sorry, what I was saying earlier was that it's changed my health so much. Really, like, it's improved the way that my immune system functions. It's improved my digestive system. I can't explain like the number of benefits that I've gotten from this thing.
It's like you hack your body, something like that. Yeah. And you mentioned sleeping. Is really important. I would say you can meditate a lot of time, but if you don't sleep, you won't see results. Yeah. So tell me, I don't know, what do you think is the best way to sleep? You need to have a schedule, or
okay, I'll give you some easy ones. So here's the first thing which everybody should know. The number of hours that we sleep is not really that important. People think it should be 8 hours. To tell you the truth, no, everybody is different. Some people need 6, some people are 7.5, some people are 9 hours. However, it should not be less than 5.5 hours. So what I'm saying is minimum 6 hours. If you sleep 6 hours and you wake up and you feel amazing, that's great. You only need 6. But 5.5 hours or less has a really, really harmful effect on the body. So we know this is true because if you look at men as an example, testosterone is a really important hormone. Not only for men, by the way, for women too, just for like general health. But people who sleep less than 5.5 hours a day, their testosterone levels are much lower than people who sleep more than 6 hours. So that's one important thing. And there's many other things as well, how the brain works, how we gain weight, lots of stuff, lots of negative stuff from sleeping 5.5 hours or less. That's one thing. So make sure you're sleeping at least 6 hours or more. And you don't have to sleep 8 if you feel good. There's no such thing as number of hours. The most important thing when it comes to sleep is what time you sleep and what time you wake up. Now, I say this because we live in a world where we love technology, right? And so one of the issues here is that we tend to sleep quite late and we tend to get up quite late. Now, that's not how we evolved. So thousands and thousands of years of us living in, the forest, the mountains, the jungles, the plains, how we evolved, we used to go to bed around 9 or 10 p.m. There's no TV, man. There's no computers. What do? You sit around the fire, you eat, maybe you have sex, and then you sleep. What else is there to do? And we wake up around 5:30, 6:30 a.m. when the sun rises. That's our natural cycle for thousands of years, and human beings are connected to this cycle. We live really, really well. Our brain and our body functions perfectly when we are sleeping around 9, 9:30, 10 p.m. and waking up around 6:30 a.m. Basically around sunrise.
Yeah.
If we do that, even just for a week, the body changes completely. It's amazing how the body changes and the mind changes. Now, that's the most. And then the second thing I want to add to this is one of the best things that a human being can do to change the way that their health is, to change their mind, to change their sleep, is first thing in the morning when we wake up, is to either open a window or go outside and just look at the sky. The reason why I say that is because natural light from the sun, you don't have to look directly at the sun, just look at the sky. Light enters the eyes. It hits a part of our brain called the pituitary gland, which releases a lot of different kinds of hormones, which really, really has a wonderful effect on our body. The problem with a lot of us today is that that's not what we do. The first thing we do when we wake up in the morning is
take the cell phone. Yeah.
We check out our cell phones. We get light from the phone into the eye. That is a completely different kind of light. The light from a phone that enters the eye does not release those hormones. Natural light before phone light really, really is powerful because of the hormone release. So it's a simple thing. and it will change your life. Believe me.
Yeah, yeah. With quarantine, here is difficult to. I wake up, have breakfast, and then I go to the computer to work. And I don't see the sun, so I, I am doing something wrong as well. And it makes sense. Like, you as a human being, you need to go outside, receive some light of the sun and not, artificial light. So that is one key that all can improve. And you mentioned that you travel a lot, okay? So right now you are in Bali, Indonesia, but how many countries did you live or did you visit? Yeah.
Ooh, lived, I would say at least 5, but visited, yeah, maybe like 20, 25. I'm not too sure. I've traveled a lot in Asia. I've traveled a little bit in Europe. I've never been to South America, to be honest. So that's like a big list. That's a big goal for me to actually travel to at least a few countries in South America.
Whenever you come to Chile, you can reach me and
I will, man. I will. It's on the list.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so no, of course, like in North America for sure. I've been to Mexico. I've been to Thailand, Cambodia. I've been to China.
And
Where else?
why did you travel a lot? Like, what was your point to travel? You need to spend time, spend money, spend energy. Why did you take that path?
That's a fantastic question. I think that in life, when we are close to dying, right? Let's say we're on our bed, we know that we're going to die. We don't necessarily think back to how much money we have in the bank. We don't think about, our university degrees on our wall. We often don't think about the kind of things that a lot of people think is really important. When we're close to dying, the most important thing, the two things that we think about are the people that are around us, the people that we have in our life, our friends, our family. And we also think about the experiences that we have had in our life. Those tend to be the most important things for us. Now, with traveling as an example, I have two ideas here. One of them is, of course, traveling for experience, which is more like enjoyment. It's a holiday, it's maybe a work trip, something like that, experiencing a different culture, different food, different, issues that we have when we travel. The other is actually living in other countries. And I find that with living in other countries, that's a completely different game, because when you live in a different country, you have the opportunity to change your identity. You become a completely different person. You don't have to hold on to the parts of your identity that you had, for example, in the place where you grew up, right? My parents have an expectation of who I am. My brothers have an expectation of who I am. My friends, when I was in middle school or high school, have an expectation of who I am. That's my identity because of the people around me. I left that country and I moved to a different country. I don't know anybody. I have new friends, and these people expect me to be a different person, the person that I present myself. When I go to a different place and I start living and working there, I can take these parts of my identity that I don't like, I can throw them away, and I can add new parts to my identity, and I can be a different person. I can experiment with who I am. I don't know who I am. Nobody really knows who they are. It's a process of learning who I am and choosing what I like about my personality and what I don't like, and kind of altering that. And then I can go somewhere else, make new friends, have a new life, and again, become a different person, embody a different identity. That to me is powerful. As a human being, we have never really been able to do this. For thousands of years, we have been in one place with our tribe or our family or whatever it is. Nowadays, you can get on a plane and you can go to a different place and start a new life within a day. It's amazing that we can change who we are so quickly. So the journey is to discover who we are. that's probably why
Yeah.
I would recommend it.
Yeah, really nice advice. And what country, you know, for you at least, was, you know, has uh, a really nice meaning? You know, what country do you recommend to visit, or no, do you recommend to visit like some country that was really good for you? You know.
That's a really hard question. I don't know how to, because honestly, like, I've had great experiences and I've also had really bad experiences in every single country or every single city that I have been to, that I have lived in. And I think that's life, you know, there's always good and bad. So, and also now for me to think about it, like I was a different person when I
Yeah.
lived in Cambodia. I was a different person when I lived in Thailand. And so today, who I am, I might say, no, I don't recommend that. But when I was that age, when I had that kind of personality, living in those countries or in those cities was amazing for me. It was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. This is tremendous. But now that I'm a little bit more mature and I have different experiences, I might not say that. So I think it depends on where everybody is at in their journey and what kind of place speaks to them. So my advice here would be, do a little bit of research. Don't do a lot of research. Do a little bit of research. See what kind of feelings come up. And if those feelings pull you to that city or to that country, go with your gut, follow your heart, just see what happens. You're going to have amazing things happen, and you're also going to have some shitty things happen. Life is like that.
Yeah, yeah. You need. I realize that follow your intuition, your emotions. A lot of time is better than follow your, your mind, and I don't know why, but I am realizing that as I am growing. So that is really important. Really
I
important.
really appreciate that you said that. There is this argument, right, between the head and the heart. The head is where we're constantly, making rational decisions. We're weighing up advantages, disadvantages. But the heart is pure intuition. The heart just knows. And it's true, right? The decisions very often that we make because of the head. I believe we had a conversation about this a few months ago, right?
Yeah, for
The
sure.
decisions we make with our head, we often regret them. And the decisions that we make with our heart, even if they're bad decisions, honestly, we don't regret them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Actually, you regret the things that you didn't do in the past.
That's true.
You don't regret the things that you did, even if the result is bad.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I agree.
yeah, yeah. So tell me, I know that you live a lot of time in China. So tell me a little bit about it, because what did you do in China?
Okay. So, okay, China, for anybody who doesn't know anything about China, I can tell you that China is amazing.
Why?
It's probably like one of the coolest places, like, especially for living there and working there. If you are just going for a little bit of a holiday, I don't know. To be honest with you, some people have good experiences and some people have bad experiences. But if you're planning to start a new life, to live and work in China, most people I know have a very, very cool and very interesting experience because there's a lot of opportunity in China. I first moved there and I became an English teacher. And then I went back and I got my master's degree, and then I became a university professor. I also taught in high school when I was living there. And I should tell you that the pay is very good. The standard of living is very high. The quality of life in the bigger cities in China is so cool. And also they're very digitally advanced. You can do basically anything on your phone. Literally whatever you want, it can be done on the phone. It's very
Now
convenient to live there.
you pay with your phone in
Yeah,
China. Here in
everything. In fact, people
Chile.
don't even use cash.
Yeah, yeah. Well, finish
Yeah,
your
yeah,
story.
yeah.
Then
So,
I have a really nice question about China
okay.
and crypto.
Okay, okay. So, Yeah, I would say that one of the barriers perhaps is the language. If you lived in a smaller town, it might be a bit difficult. But if you live in a big city in China, like Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou, Shenzhen, you're not going to have any issues. It's nice to learn the language. And by the way, people think it's difficult, but it's not. Learning Chinese is easy. I mean, learning to speak Chinese is easy. Learning to read and write Chinese, that's hard. But to be honest with you, you don't need to learn how to read and write if you don't want to. Speaking, you'll get it. If you plan to live and work there, you'll love it. It's fairly easy.
And what about using my English? You can communicate only with English, or you need
You
to,
can, yeah. And in the big cities, you will have no problem at all just using English. Most
Okay.
people will be able to communicate with you. So life there is not hard. I also started a business there. In fact, so when I was talking about the coaching, the heart math coaching and running workshops, I started in China. And before that, I started a business, a chocolate business. I was manufacturing and supplying chocolate. They were called probiotic chocolates. So it's quite interesting. If you plan to start a life in China, working there, getting a job is great, or even starting your own company and doing business there is fantastic too. There's a lot of opportunities.
And what about social life? Go in the street, and I know that you like to chat women in the street. And what about parties? All this stuff.
Oh yeah. There's literally, you can have any kind of scene you want. There's obviously a huge party scene in most of the big cities. You can go to coffee shops, you can meet people. It's awesome meeting people in China. Most people are fairly friendly, they're easygoing, and they're happy to have conversations. I made a lot of good friends, honestly. Like, I still have friends in China, even though I don't live there anymore. Yeah,
But
there's
Chinese
basically whatever
people,
you're
like,
interested in.
no.
Yeah, it's a mix. There's a lot of expats, and there's also, like, I have a nice mix of expat friends and Chinese friends. So it depends on you. If you're only interested in having friends from the same country or the same background, you can do that. There's a lot of people from all over the world that are living and working in China. But if you also want to kind of incorporate yourself into local culture, make local friends, and really understand how Chinese people think and what they like and what they don't, that's easy too. They're really friendly, and there's lots of them that speak English. And so if you're open to it, you will have a fantastic time.
Nice. And did you? I never asked you about it. Did you go to a zoo to see pandas in China, or?
I did actually one time. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a very special zoo in Western China in a city called Chengdu, where you can do that.
Nice. Yeah, it is my dream. It's my dream. So, the question that I wanted to ask you about China and crypto, that right now China is banning crypto.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's not new though. They do it every year. They announce that every year.
Well,
Funny.
here you open your cell phone and you see a new, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
so
I mean, I would say that, like, yes, they are concerned about crypto, but there's no way that they can control it, man. Like, we're at a point in time where if you try to stop it, people will just find another way. Like, people who are into crypto, they're smart people. They understand technology. They will find a way. It's impossible to stop it at this point. So what happened recently is when China stopped the miners, right? If anybody knows anything about Bitcoin and mining, the Chinese government cracked down on Bitcoin mining and everything. So what happened was a lot of the Chinese miners moved to other countries or to cities around China, like Kazakhstan, Russia, where mining was a little bit cheaper. Electricity is not so expensive. But even now, when you look at it, there are still thousands of people mining in China. You can see it. It's like, it's not even a secret. It's like, oh, look, China has like a lot of hash rate coming out of it. I thought it was banned. Maybe
yeah.
not. So it's like, it's still there. Like, you can, it's news. It's very interesting how this stuff happens. And also, secondly, the Chinese government has tried to stop the exchanges, so people cannot buy and sell Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies on what we call the centralized exchanges. But People are not stupid. They just go to what we call the decentralized exchanges, where you don't have to upload your identity. You can be completely anonymous and you can buy and sell crypto and nobody knows. So there are still millions and millions of dollars worth of crypto from China in decentralized exchanges now. So,
And what can you buy with crypto in China? Because, if the authorities are banning crypto,
mhm.
I think you cannot buy food with crypto.
No, actually, so I would say 99% of the world, people are still not buying and selling things in crypto. Um, except El Salvador. Actually, that's one of the most
Yeah.
amazing things that the world has seen this year. El Salvador is using Bitcoin to buy and sell everything. You can go to a market and buy apples and oranges and fish with Bitcoin, which is awesome. I don't know if that's going to happen in other countries around the world. So yeah, in China, nobody is using it to buy and sell. Most people are using it as an investment because look, recently, there's a company called Evergrande, which is a huge real estate company, which has declared bankruptcy. And that is going to have a huge impact on the Chinese economy, the stock markets, and on the world, the global economy. Now, of course, China are going to start printing more money, the same as the US, the same as many other countries around the world. You have to print money so that you can keep the economies somewhat stable, which is fine. Do that. Print more money, but then the value of the yuan, the value of the dollar, the value of the euro is going down.
Yeah.
So what do? How do I protect myself from inflation next year and 5 years from now? For me to hold Chinese yuan or US dollar or euro is not a very smart thing to do. And most Chinese people know that. Most Americans, Europeans know that. So what they do is they put money in cryptocurrency because yes, it fluctuates up and down. But if you look at the graphs, especially Bitcoin, man, every year, it started in 2009. If you look at 2009 to now, it's just going up. Of course, it goes down, but it continues going up higher and higher and higher. Yeah. So the value is being stored beautifully in these kinds of currencies.
Yeah, that's true. But for example, right now, are you moving all your savings to crypto, or you are, maybe 50% of your money you move to crypto, or how are you managing that?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like, I wouldn't say 100% in crypto because it's a very volatile asset class. Sorry. So what I would recommend for most people is trying to divide that up a little bit. So how about if you're young and then you want to take a little bit more risk, you can go with 60 or 70% in crypto, maybe a little bit of stocks and cash. Or if you're older and you want to have a less risky portfolio, maybe 30 or 40% in crypto, 20, 30% in stocks, and the rest in cash or bonds or any of the other. If you want to go with commodities like oil, gold, those are also interesting investments, but don't keep money in cash. Smart people are not doing that because they realize that $1,000 today is not worth $1,000 tomorrow. It is going down month by month. Inflation is rising. $1,000 is not the same this month as it is next month.
Yeah, I agree. And what about buy, houses or landscapes, do you think it's an smart
real estate, right? You're talking about real estate. Yeah, I think that's a solid investment as well. If you have the funds, invest in real estate because in general, yes, there are bubbles sometimes, but in general, the value of land, the value of real estate tends to go up. But if you are young and you cannot afford to buy a house, right? Depending where you live, like I personally don't like taking loans. I'm very averse to taking on debt. So for most young people these days, to buy a house, you do have to put a little bit of collateral down in a bank, and you have to get a huge loan from the bank to pay for the land or the house or whatever it is. Now, for the next 20 or 30 years, you have to worry about how do you pay back that loan. That doesn't set you up for a stressless life, man. These days, I'm always about how do I manage stress? Like, how do I have experiences? How do I travel? How do I just one day say, okay, you know what? I don't really want to do what I'm doing at the moment. I want to quit my job and I want to travel for 3 months, or I want to take 1 year off. And then I want to come back and start something new. I can't do that if I have to pay for a house for 30 years. I have to make sure that I'm working for those 30 years because of mortgage. So it's like, okay, well, how do you enjoy your life? Like, Real estate is fantastic when you have the capital to just buy it outright. Safe investment, beautiful. However, if you're not there yet, my recommendation is don't take a loan. Invest in crypto or invest in stocks if you feel more confidence in stocks or in the stock market. I'm not very confident in the stock market at the moment, but everybody's different.
Yeah.
But do invest in something, whatever it is, because saving money, just keeping money in a bank account today, you are paying the bank to keep that money there. They're not paying you. You're not making any money.
And do you think in the future we will use a lot of cryptocurrencies, and the banks are going to experience a lot of you know bad things? Do you think that is the future, or because the bank have the power, and with cryptocurrency we are decentralizing this power? So
Yeah. To be honest with you, I don't think that banks are going to go away. I think that banks will start participating in cryptocurrency. And we're already seeing that. We're seeing more and more banks taking their savings and actually investing it in cryptocurrency so that they can allow their customers 5% interest, 10% interest, whatever it is. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Banks are not going away, but we are going to see different currencies being offered by banks, different currencies being used in different countries or in different economies. It's all headed in the same direction. I don't think that we're going to ever be like 100% crypto, or even now 100% fiat or country currencies. I think it's always just going to be kind of mixed up. But I'm excited because I think it's going to be awesome when I can travel, for example, to Chile, and I don't have to exchange US dollar to any other currency. I can just pay in Ethereum, or I can pay in Bitcoin, or I can pay in any cryptocurrency that I already hold. It just saves us, because anytime you travel, you always lose money when you exchange and when you exchange back. Why do I have to pay for that? So yeah, I'm excited for that.
yeah. Actually, right now, if you come to Chile and you want to convert your Bitcoin to Chilean pesos, you need to pay taxes and a lot of stuff going on. So, another question that I have is, what coin do you recommend? Because I invested in crypto. Actually, I'm going to upload a video about my portfolio, and my favorite coin is Solana. Sol.
Wow.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. 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 Wow.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want to really get into crypto, I would say, do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor, the standard stuff. So if you really want to get interested in crypto, do research and look into at least the top 20 coins. At the moment, I would say there's huge potential for Solana, Phantom, Harmony One. And if you don't want to get into that kind of stuff, you just want to put your money into crypto, you want safe assets, you don't care about it very much, you just want to save your money and allow it to appreciate, I would say that the best and the safest things, if you're not that interested in crypto, is to put your money in Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because looking at the way they're going, you're not going to lose money. But you're not also going to get 100x on your investment. If you put your money, for example, not advice, okay? Just saying, this is what I'm doing, right? If you put your money, for example, in Phantom or in Solana or Harmony One, there's a better chance.
Yeah.
There's a better chance.
Yeah. I think that, well, at least for me, it was really worth it to invest in Solana on a really early stage, and now I can enjoy that money. However, with Bitcoin, you earn some money, but not a little bit of money, really.
Yeah.
I
I
if
agree.
if you put $1,000, you will have $100 of profit or something like
Yeah,
that.
it's true. It's
Yeah.
true.
With Solana,
It's
you can
oh yeah.
duplicate or even more.
Yeah, it's true. But some people don't want to. They don't want to watch it. They don't really want to be that in. Like for example, if you have a job where you like what you're doing and you're passionate about it, you tend to focus more. If you tend to focus your time more on that kind of stuff. So for a lot of people that are like, I just don't want to lose money. I just don't want the value of my money to go down. Yeah, I mean, Bitcoin is fantastic. You're not going to lose your money. You won't get that much. You will get more, but it's like you said, right? It's not the same as the other ones. But that being said, like other ones can also have more risk compared to Bitcoin because, for example, when Bitcoin goes down, often the other cryptocurrencies go down a lot more than Bitcoin. So we also have to take that into account. It really just depends on how much risk we want to take. And secondly, also like how much of our total net worth we want to put into crypto. Like for most people, putting 100% of your money in crypto is
it's
probably
not a
not a
good
good
idea.
idea.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I agree with you. Well, to finalize the video, what do you, because you are an English teacher, I learn English with you. What do you recommend to learn English nowadays? We have internet, and a lot of tools. So, what do you think is the best strategy?
Podcasts. I would say listening to podcasts is great for input, especially because when you listen to something, I find that we remember it and we're able to use it a lot better than when we read. So listening to podcasts, but maybe also watching YouTube is fantastic. And then secondly, finding people who you can practice with face to face. Looking at people's faces when you practice is so powerful. We get instant feedback as to what we're saying, what it means to the other person. So if you live in a city where there are people that speak, where there's maybe these groups of people who are practicing together, or even if you're like, the kind of person who can go to a coffee shop and start a conversation with someone, do that. That is wonderful. And that's really, really going to improve. The thing I would avoid is just trying to learn by reading or from a grammar book or something like that. I don't really think that's very effective. The same amount of time that you would spend there is not going to get the same amount of results as listening to a podcast or watching YouTube and talking to people face to face.
Yeah. And what about using Discord? Do you know Discord?
Oh yeah, I use Discord too. Yeah.
What about using Discord
Wonderful.
to chat with
Discord,
other
Twitter.
people without the
Yeah.
face,
Typing and stuff, that's also a very wonderful and helpful thing because you're interacting with other human beings, right? It's not a passive thing where you're just reading or watching. Yeah, I would recommend in any form of interaction with other people. If you can't do it face to face over voice or video, typing is the next best thing. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it was a pleasure to invite you to my podcast. I really appreciate it. And that's it.
Thanks for having me, Roto. Wonderful talking
Yeah.
to you.
Thank you. Bye bye, people.
Yeah.